me keep this. I think I'm playing Craters on turn 1. Pretty good against Illusion Tribal. Dude, Illusion Tribal can never beat Footfall Craters. Pretty relevant. How about Magic Boxing? Sounds really exciting. Like fantasy, 2 fantasy creatures duking it out. Mardu Triome. What I would give for these to be called the cons names, you know, Mardu, Jeskai, Sultai. What I would give for that to be the reality we live in. I guess I probably wouldn't give that much, but I would prefer it. I'll tell you that right now. So like you could even play. You'd have to jump through a lot of hoops, but even like on Ikora, they could have teleported little sections of cons or of Tarkir to Ikora, and they keep them in triomes to study them. And you'd have to jump through some hoops with the lore, but you know, when have they not jumped through some hoops in the lore? You know what I mean? I guess I'm discarding Omen. That way we don't lose to like land Thoughtseize here. Could have given the Kroxa haste. Oh boy. I think I'm, man, against Mardu. We just have a second creativity though. They don't definitely have it. Yeah. Yeah, incoming Lily. Yeah, maybe. We could just draw a Dwarven Mine and we'd win the game, though. Yeah, we win the game if we draw any of our Dwarven Mines. Any fetch land or Dwarven Mine. Which is a lot of our deck. Because then we get the haste. Hell yeah. What a top deck. And this is why I like the deck so much, is that your lands are part of your combo enabler, which is just such a powerful thing. I mean, we have a lot of Dwarven Mines in the deck, you know? We have a lot of Dwarven Mines in top deck. There's another matchup where the Nahiris look very good, actually. Definitely want these purges too. Kind of like the first Force and play like 2 creativities. Maybe we could find room for 3. Kind of like the 4th Remand. No, maybe delay. Remand's better than delay in this matchup. Could play like 2 delay though. Yeah, Crater. I really like Crater in this deck. Yeah, I don't have the. I mean, we could cast Emrakul if our opponent Blood Moons us, so never say never. If I find out that you guys have been saying never. You want Force to defend versus Lily? I don't think so. Especially because, like, you know, like Nahiri is more of our plan post board. And, you know,
what's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Force is, you know, very risky versus them, just because it's against the discard deck. Turtle Power 10 months, ban Triomes. That's a take. That is a take. Not even necessarily a bad one. Which is pretty rare on this channel to find a take that might not be bad. We could maybe play around Blood Moon by holding up the Purge. I think it's better to just, like, kill the Channeler. Is this a brew? Yeah. It's a new one. Spyro. Discarding Kroxa. It's pretty good. I mean, we have Dwarven Mine to maybe trade with elemental tokens here. I kind of think I'm just going to hold up delay. Pass. And then maybe just save the Teferi for the turn before their delay card comes down. Other cross bits for brews. Hell yeah. That sounds like a good program. Is Polymorph better than Creativity versus them because they have no interaction window on the stack? No, creativity is better because you can beat one removal spell by targeting 2 tokens. Is there any interaction with delay? The interaction is mostly with Teferi. Teferi stops the suspend spell from coming down, which is not something I invented, but that tech has been around for a little while. But it's also kind of nice in this deck because you could just kind of kill them before their suspend card comes down. That's another interaction. Just kill them. Maybe I'm supposed to minus on the Spyro. Nah, I don't think so. Cool. I have to push my land. They can't escape Kroxa. Well, we can put an Emrakul into play. If they do that, they don't have land removal spell. That does mean we have to discard the Teferi to the Kroxa if that's our line. But it's probably the line we should take. And then the Emrakul gets to attack before Liliana comes down. Alternatively, we could just like discard creativity. We could discard creativity, Nahiri minus on Spyro, and Scalding Tarn can block Elemental, and then Teferi can bounce the Kroxa. That seems a bit better. I feel like the Emrakul line loses to too much. And then yeah, now we can Gust Kroxa and plus Teferi if we want. Although I think I'd rather, well, maybe Gusting it's better. Yeah, maybe Gusting's better. I'm kind of happy if they put on top here. They put it on the bottom. I think either way I'm bouncing the token. I drew another Gust. So hopefully we get to untap with Teferi so that the Liliana doesn't come down. The suspend card is Liliana of the Veil. They've really nerfed it. They bolt Nahiri and not Teferi. Explosives X equals 0. But why? Oh, for the Dwarven Mine. Of course, that's fine. Yeah, the Nahiri sideboard plan is actually just... It's working exactly as we intended it. They got extra punish for bolting Nahiri. Although I get it. I get it. But now they lose their Liliana. Because of the Fun Raveler. But like they boarded in explosives for our Dwarven Mines, and then we just have Nahiri to kind of ignore that. I mean, they may be just like... I'm not sure that they definitely don't know the interaction between Teferi and Suspend. They maybe just value Nahiri more. Like, Nahiri is pretty valuable. They just got max punished. Yeah, the Liliana is now popped out like this forever, which is kind of obnoxious. They should probably change that. Do you get to... And we could draw Emrakul this turn, actually, so we don't 100% get to throw Emrakul at them. Got to ultimate some Nahiris today. It's very exciting. That one before. Let's keep this. I think that we're going to cycle Crater on turn 1. Because we have, like, Teferi into Creativity means, like, you usually can Creativity on turn 3. I think I'm going to go Steam Vent cycle into Omen into Teferi. Grazer. Glad to be on the play. Emrakul is pretty good in this matchup. Have I thought about Spiritual Visit or Reweave? I actually don't even know what either of those cards are. If you exclamation point card in the chat and then space, then type out the card, it'll pop up and I'll take a look. This is the deal I offer you. Let's remand this. Just want to find a land. Alright, we want to find a different land. Okay, so we can bolt Azusa and then put an Emrakul into play with Force of Negation up. It's probably good enough. MTG bot's a bit weird these days. Playing around bolts by turfing first. I would definitely not play Spiritual Visit. This happened the last time I played this deck too, which was a long time ago. But the last time I played this deck, everybody suggested playing all these terrible token generators when, in my opinion, the best reason to play this deck is because you don't have to do that. You just get to play... your lands get to make token... Like, you have a million Dwarven Mines that come into play untapped and don't cost you a card, which is so valuable that I don't know why you would want to play cards that, instants that make tokens, like Spiritual Visit, and then Reweave is a 6-drop, which I would definitely just play Transmogrify instead. Emma, second month in a row, welcome back. I'm not just doing this because you subscribe. I really do like your content. If you're interested in articles on TCG Player, a lot, very much about budget magic. Is it exclamation budget or Emma? I think it's Emma. Yeah. I would check her out there, but also thank you for resubscribing. It's both. Okay, cool. That's probably for the best because I often forget what the commands are labeled as. Is this a Turn Timber Symbiosis? Cool. The best thing is that this deck stomps on 4-color Uro. I mean, we're Owen... Maybe the green splash helps that you have, but we're like 0-2 against it today. I don't think it's accurate to say it stomps on it. Maybe it has an okay matchup. We're also probably supposed to bounce one of these guys first to make them go down on permanence, but I mean they're not beating Emrakul here, I think. And I guess I just won't show them Teferi. Just pass. This looks pretty good to me. Now I'm playing 2 Emrakul. Yeah. Although sometimes I slide the second out when I go in on the Nahiri game plan. And sometimes I mean to and forget to. I have not played against Mill yet, but that's kind of funny. Have a pretty good Mill matchup, I would hope. Although when they surgical Emrakul, you have to go on the Dwarven Mine beatdown plan, which is maybe good enough if you get a couple Emrakul triggers. Probably a pretty funny matchup, at least. Why delay over Mana Leak? Well, Mana Leak kind of sucks. It's not just that. Mana Leak... Delay is kind of nice when we're already wanting to main deck for Teferi Time Raveler. Delay is very good with that. And delay is also just kind of nice when you just get to kill them, When you just delay, then you throw an Emrakul at them, you kill them before their Suspend spell comes down. That's also kind of nice. Where Mana Leak just doesn't always counter the spell. It is not a counter spell. Are there no main more discard outlets for me in case I draw 2? I have 1 Valakut Awakening. I'm honestly just not that worried about drawing 2. And we have Sideboard Nahiri. And we have a Valakut Awakening. Probably, maybe could be playing 2. The biggest problem with Awakening is that it's not a mountain, so I think you're going to be pretty rarely actually playing it as a land. And so like its mode of being a land isn't super on in this deck because you really need all your lands to be mountains for Dwarven Mine. Happy Solstice. Happy Solstice to you too, Lamp. Delay is also really nice against counter spells too, which this deck is maybe soft too. But people just love Mana Leak. They love Mana Leak so much. Gust into Creativity is a pretty good hand. I think that card kind of sucks, Fran. Fran, I honestly just am not worried about drawing both Emrakuls. You know, I'd rather just play like all good cards. Opponent only has 2 cards in their hand. I'm not going to gust Stacy, especially with them only having 2 cards. Is this a tempo deck confirmed? Yes, I confirm it. They named Dryad with Cavern. I guess I gust to play around their last card being Veil. But I'm definitely wanting to gust anything this turn, or something this turn. They probably have to bottom this. Because their hand can't be mana to cast Titan and Titan, because they only have 1 card. So they do put the Dryad on the bottom. Wait, did I say Dryad Arbor? Probably did. This is neither a pronunciation stream nor a even remotely getting the card that's being cast against me correct stream. Yeah, I'm just kind of gusting anything this turn. With them only being on 1 card. If their 1 card is a disruption for the combo, they're out, they're out of cards. And it's, even if they Titan here, it's not clear that they're going to beat Emrakul. Really good draw of Gust into Creativity against an opponent who mulligans as well. Yeah, even if their 1 card is Dismembered, I think we're supposed to play into it. All right, can they Titan? I guess they're doing something. Something is happening. If their hand isn't Titan, they can make 7 mana and Symbiosis, and we don't have a blue card for the Force. They also drew the Growth Chamber, so they definitely could have a Titan in their hand. But their other card was Gruul Turf. I don't know why they tell us that, and not just put the. Oh, they already bounced the Symbiosis. Of course, never mind. They just could have bounced the Growth Chamber and then replayed it, and then with the second trigger Symbiosis. They do hit the prime time. Didn't have a blue card for Force. I mean, if they haste land, we just get to block, is a big deal here. We could also maybe just Valakut Awakening into Lightning Bolt next turn. Yeah, I really like Dwarven Mine. I really like this mana base. Obviously not more powerful than Mystic Sanctuary. I want to win some games with the Dwarf Beatdown plan, though. I mean, an untapped land that makes him 1/1 is pretty good. Yeah, Idyllic Range saw play in Pioneer. Dwarven Mine sees play in this deck. Mystical Sanctuary sees play in Magic the Gathering. I don't think I've ever seen. No, I saw Cherry play with the green one time, but it wasn't very good. And I've played with the black one and like Goblins before for a Dono deck, but that also didn't feel very good. I mean, the black one is playable for sure, and I think it's one to look out for. You saw the green one in Standard. Maybe saw some play there. I mean, it's interesting. Making an artifact with an untapped land is not nothing. That one could see some play at some point if there is a green deck that wants an artifact to be put into play, and they don't want to spend a card on it, kind of like this deck. In fact, the green one that makes a food token would work with Creativity, but it's just better to play Dwarven Mine instead. Although, maybe that's not entirely true, just because it's nice that the food token doesn't die to removal spells, but okay, they get Valakut Field of the Dead. Their last card is just a bounce land. Alright. I'm going to Awakening away my entire hand. We have 2 Lightning Bolts in the deck. We have 5 looks. Okay. We have instead, just a counter spell. Can also Dwarven Mine to soak up 1 point of damage. They keep Field of the Dead over the second bounce land. I'm having a hard time figuring out how they get out of this. We'll see what happens. Is there any chance Lightning Greaves should be played in this deck? I highly doubt it. Teferi the Time Raveler is just so much better at protecting your combo than any other thing. And like I think Craters is a better haste enabler because you can cycle it. So yeah, definitely play Craters over Greaves. Although your other option is Mass Hysteria, which I don't really like very much. We've won our last 6 matches with this build, which is pretty good. Lost to humans, then won 6 matches in a row so far. I'm gonna keep this. Bit of a weird hand. Probably gonna cycle Craters on turn 1. Might need to find a counterspell. I mean, this could actually be blue-white. I've seen Harry and the Sea play this card in their blue-white deck, but this is way more likely to be Oops All Spells or Belcher, which I think is a fine matchup. Have a lot of counterspells, and Teferi is pretty good against both. And we have 4 in the main deck. Oh yeah, Greaves also is a number with creativity, of course. Doing a lag check. Opponent says they are lagging. Which is fine, definitely. I've definitely had my fair share of lag. Looks like, I guess we can't tell if it's Oops or Belcher yet. Okay, it's Belcher. We can Omen looking for Force of Negation, but you know maybe they just are playing Belcher and passing, and we can play Teferi and bounce it. You can also play Dragon Tempest. Doesn't seem as good, but yes, you can. I honestly just love that this cycles. I think that's huge for an effect like this. That's not something that is part of your game plan every time. They're splicing a ritual. Still can find force. Yeah, I still think Crater is better than Tempest. Alright, so now we need to find Force of Negation. We have 3 forces in the deck, and I will bottom any non-Force of Negation card. See 3 lands. I might want Purge to be able to deal with Blood Moon. I guess we have Gust that can deal with Moon or just any other counter spell. Dispute also counters Pact, which is kind of good, and like 3 mana leak is not bad either. Can maybe trim. I guess I'll trim a Creativity because this pitches to Force and cut the 4th Crater. Search your library for any number of non-land cards and exile them. Yeah, I've seen some people play that version. I feel like that's the worst one, but it's cool. What is my least favorite color in Magic? Colorless? Yeah, I've got some brew ideas. I spent a few hours yesterday. So yesterday I didn't get to play in the PTQ. Because I was having PC problems. It took me like 5 hours to fix everything. But I've been thinking, I've got a couple different ideas of how to use Goryo's Vengeance. Like one, I was thinking that I was looking for a good artifact legendary creature to entomb with Goblin Engineer. And so I was thinking you could put Sharome, the Hedgemond, which is a 6 mana legendary artifact creature, that when it enters, return an artifact from your graveyard to play. You could Goryo's Vengeance that, and either combo off with 2 Sharomes, Sharome Metamorph, plus Altar of the Brood, or just like try to mill over any random artifact with Emery and put it back, like, you know, maybe God of Pharaoh statue, just put a God of Pharaoh statue into play. I guess we have to mulligan this against Belcher. And we can keep this. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. I didn't have a good list together, but you also have Trash for Treasure to get back Sharome. You have Trash for Treasure and Goryo's Vengeance to get it back. Yeah, Reaper King is kind of interesting, but I think worse. But you can play both. Like you could have a Reaper King as a tutor target for your Goblin. And then I also was thinking about Goryo's Vengeance on Bruna, the angel that when it attacks you could put any auras from your hand graveyard into play attached to her, and just Bruna. Goryo's Vengeance plus Bruna plus Colossification is kind of cute. But I was really trying to find a Gifts Ungiven pile that worked with all of that, and I couldn't. I couldn't figure it out. But I was trying to. Cool. It's a good draw. With that draw, if I draw a land, yeah, I'll just creativity and hold up force. No, I didn't play any Sovereigns of Lost Solara. I feel like Sovereigns is kind of nonsense. Like, theoretically, the fact that you can Goryo's Vengeance Bruna and just give her a haste for 2 mana, a lethal hasty attacker for 2 mana, seems pretty good. And I was thinking that you don't even have to play very many copies if you can find a gifts pile that works, and I just couldn't find a gifts pile that always lets me Goryo's Vengeance Bruna. And maybe there is one. If anybody knows one, tell me, or can figure it out. But a Gifts Ungiven pile that always lets you Goryo's Vengeance Bruna with Colossification. And so, a big part of that is Mystic Sanctuary to get back Goryo's Vengeance, of course. I'm sure that's a big piece of the puzzle, to where you can kind of bank on having a Mystic Sanctuary to get the Vengeance back from the graveyard. And I was also trying to find, like, surely Farm to Market. Farm to Market is the missing piece. But it wasn't the missing piece. You'll give me $100 to brew it up and play it. Deal. I'll do it this Thursday for Donation Deck Thursday. You're talking about the Grixis one, right? Or the Bruno one? I can mulligan this. This hand's better. Teferi's pretty good against them. After 2 challenge, do you think that Jeskai Lotus Field is a powerful deck? Definitely powerful. I would certainly use that adjective. I like the deck. Well, we can bounce that with Teferi. Hope we're not dead, I guess. I'll keep a creativity. I was complaining about this deck not playing Defense Grid last week. Guess they listened.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring
The Almighty Shank. Thank you for a Twitch Prime subscription. Hope you're having a good day today. Yeah, cannot beat turn 2 Defense Grid, turn 3 Belcher. Oops. All spells. Opponent revealed Luris. I think I'm going to keep this hand. The Emrakul is bad, but the rest of the hand is, almost exactly what we're looking for. Turn 1 Swifty. I think I'm going to cycle the Crater. Assuming you have Sanctuary in hand, you can get Bruna, Colossification, Goryo's through the Breach. The problem is they just put Bruna, Colossification in your hand. What about Blightsteel Colossus? You can't. Colossus gets shuffled. If you're talking about that as a target for your Goblin. So I guess my opponent's hand is removal heavy. Going Shock, Fetch Shock is going to hurt a lot, so I'm not sure exactly if we can avoid doing that. We're supposed to hold this up. Sanctuary puts through the breach back on top. I mean, the problem is like with Through the Breach in that kind of spot is it's easier to play Sanctuary and then cantrip into the Goryo's Vengeance, because it's, you know, you're cantripping into a 2-mana spell instead of a 5-mana spell. But you are right. If you can Sanctuary back Through the Breach and then win the following turn, or if you can cantrip into it, you can win. That is true. Bruna Conflagrate, Noxious Revival of Vengeance. Well, you don't get the Colossification. But maybe Conflagrate is the card you want. Yeah, really, really painful hands. Yeah, we have 2 creativities, so we let this resolve. That is one payoff for Polymorph and Transmogrify over creativity, as this gets got by Inquisition. But this being able to target 2 tokens is so relevant, and also gets around Cage. Well, if they give you Bruna Conflagrate, you can cast Conflagrate for 1 and then Conflagrate the Bruna into the graveyard. So yeah, I guess you don't need Noxious Revival, right? You can get Bruna Conflagrate. Go to 2. You can get Bruna Conflagrate. Yeah, we need to find a lightning bolt for this Swift Spear, I think. Cool. Pog. And next turn, Teferi can stop the Knight's Whisper. So if our opponent's out of gas here, we have a chance. Oh, I just get bolted. They can put Lurrus into their hand if they truly have nothing. They do. Awesome. So you're saying there's a chance. I think I'm going to pick up the Omen. Pass. You could use Radical Idea instead of Conflagrate. Oh, interesting. So you get Colossification, Bruna, Goryo's Vengeance, Radical Idea. No, we don't win on the spot because the Emrakul isn't hasty. And they also get to Swift Spear us down to 1 life if they attack us. So I think we're still in bad shape. Yeah. Yeah, Radical Idea is really interesting. We may spend some time brewing this up today. Dude, our deck really wants us to win this game. I don't think the deck has ever wanted me to win more. I guess we need to save the Awakening to dig for an actual Dwarven Mine. The deck has never wanted us to win more. Yeah, creativity has to be X equals 1. Alright, they're going to take the Awakening, I guess. But I don't think we're supposed to Awakening into the Thoughtseize, you know, when we have, like, Omen to dig. What about the Jumpstart one that gives haste? That's not relevant because of Goryo's Vengeance. Like, I don't think you're trying to hard cast Bruna. You're trying to Vengeance her. And if you're talking about for this deck, then can't target Emrakul. Okay, so let's think. Hey, Shin, how you doing? Let's think. Radical Idea. Is there... So, if they give you Bruna Classification, you just Radical Idea... You Mystic Sanctuary back Goryo's Vengeance, Radical Idea, and then Jumpstart the Bruna into the graveyard, and then Goryo's Vengeance. If they give you... Yeah, this should work. This should actually work. Yeah, it's Radical Idea, I actually think, makes this a really good gifts pile. They left me... I didn't really think they would let me have Awakening. Let's see if we can find... we need to find Dwarven Mine. That's all we really care about here. Obviously, our opponent has a lot of outs to kill us. Just digging hard. Yeah, I think that this works. I think that this idea works. I think we've maybe found the answer. The downside is you have to draw a radical idea. Well, you only need to have like 1 or 2 in your deck. And this means you also only have to play like 1 Bruna and 1 Claw. And like, you know, you just don't have to be that in on the combo, which I think is powerful to just be able to gifts for a combo like this. Alright, so still looking for that Dwarven Mine. I feel like we're honestly like timely! We can instant speed it. Awesome. So we can instant speed timely, which is going to give us, I forgot we had this card in the deck, which will let us fetch for Dwarven Mine. And then we can Craters to Emrakul them next turn. The pile is Radical Idea, Classification, Bruna, Goryo's Vengeance. Which actually I think just sounds pretty good to me, to be able to give some given for, this is also assuming we can have access to Mystic Sanctuary, which is not assuming very much because it's very easy to do that, of course. Dude, our deck wanted us to win this game so badly, it's crazy. I've never played a game where my deck has just worked harder for me than this one. Imagine if I had bombed the timely. I thought about it I forgot for a split second I was going to, just like autopiloting. Yeah, opponent also flooded out really badly, I agree. But Radical Idea, no, the classification can be in your hand. Bruna allows you to attach enchantments from either your hand or your graveyard, which is another reason why I was trying to figure it out with Gifts and Given. Yeah. It's all, is this the last, no, we have 2 more matches this league. We'll put the deck together at some point today. I'm interested in putting this together on stream. We can work on it together. You know, I do enjoy brewing on stream, but the problem is like you can't really force the process. You can only really do it when you have an idea. I want to see. I'm just gonna try to figure out if I can play the deck without. Maybe you can play like 2 creativity, 3 remand. Seems okay to me. Maybe 3 creativity, 2 remand. Or maybe 1 Emrakul, 3 remand, 3 creativity, 4 Nahiri. It seems better. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, we're assuming we can get a Mystic Sanctuary, which is not going to be very difficult, I think. That's not a very high cost. And we can also maybe we'll probably be splashing white to potentially have an Unburial Rites in the 75. And like Teferi seems pretty good in this shell as well. Is this gonna be a control shell with 9 or so cards of the combo? Yeah. Like, it's gonna be like an Esper Gifts Ungiven deck with, you know, a Radical Idea, Classification, and Bruna and Goryo's Vengeance to combo, and you know, theoretically, you could play some redundancy, and theoretically you could have more synergy with Goryo's Vengeance, and you could play cards like Obsidat or Jace Prodigy. So we'll figure it out. Yeah, I kind of like Rites plus Iona and Elish Norn in the sideboard. And like Uro of course would be very good in this shell, but I have built 4-color gifts decks kind of recently, and the mana base is tough, really tough. Yeah, I tried to build this deck yesterday with JVP and Obsidat, but I found like having 4 Goryo's Vengeance, 4 JVP, 3 Obsidat, and gifts plus Bruna plus Classification. I feel like the deck is just too clunky. But I might play like 1 Obsidat. We're talking about unchecked aggression here. Even with the Triumphs, I found the mana to just be not that good. Because, like, you know, I don't know. We'll take a look. We'll think about it. I mean, ideally, this could be a cool brew without Uro, right? You know, ideally, this is a cool deck that doesn't play Uro. that could ever happen. You bought on both of these. Pass it back. When it gives pile of Leveler, Footsteps of the Goryo, Unearth, and Oracle. Does that work? Don't they just give you Leveler? They give you Leveler, Unearth. It's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. That seems like it works. Although, don't you need this Footsteps doesn't sack a creature; it sacks the creature end of turn. Well, I like the idea. I like the cut of your jib for sure. So it is a lot of mana. We won game 1. They put Lurrus into their hands. Me Omen. I'll keep the Bolt. I don't think I want the Teferi. Yeah, I think I'm just going to Bolt the Swift Spear, and then we can Remand Lurrus. Oh, yeah, they just give you Oracle plus Unearth. Yeah, of course. Bolts me down to 9. Not a very high life total, is it? Then you Unearth the lever. Unearth only targets... Oh, no. Unearth only targets creatures with CMC 3 or less. My life flashed before my eyes just now. Although it's only blowing up 2 islands, which is not nothing, but... If they spend their turn boiling, we get to put the Nahiri up to 8. It's actually kind of fine. Yeah, if Unearth was just 1 mana reanimate with cycling, it'd be pretty good. Could maybe have bolted them in response here. I think that I want to like make them take the bolt though. They take the crater. Thrilled with that, I think. The reason I'm playing Polymorph over Transmogrify is Force of Negation, more blue cards, but it's... And, like, we basically always have blue mana in play, in theory. Yeah, I'll definitely take a draw step here. It's nice that, like, they can't cast Boil, really. Ooh. I guess I want to loot away my Tarn here. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to click OK. I meant to bounce the Teferi and probably attack for 1. But whatever, we're here now. And I'll have the ability to put another Mind Token into play, and then they're dead to the Dwarves attacking plus Bolt and the Emrakul being thrown at them. Their hand is Boil, Lurrus, 4 mystery cards. If 3 of them are Lightning Bolt, we lose. But they've already cast 1 Bolt. I haven't done the math yet, nitpicking, but I think it is lethal. So if they Lurrus and then Swift Spear, Kolaghan's command to make me discard a card and deal 2 damage to Nahiri. Well, if they don't have anything else, they lose. Yeah, the Nahiri sideboard plan is so good because people leave in all these like bolts and fatal pushes, and then Nahiri just kind of gets them. That's pretty good though. Oh, they just know we have lightning bolts in our hand. What? You mulligan this. We do have a crater to cycle. Probably just, yeah. We'll just mulligan into one of our better hands. Put back the crater because we have Teferi into creativity. Put him to 5. Delays looks pretty good so far. Our opponent, we've cast Delay probably like 3 or 4 times, and our opponent has either been dead or we've had a Teferi in play before their Suspend spell comes down. Our second time playing against Tron today. I think we had this exact draw against them on the play last time too. Eyes of the Wisnet. Alright, well let me look it up before I could tell you that it's spicy tech. Whenever your opponent casts a blue spell during your turn, you may create a 4/4 green elemental token. Yeah, that and Seed Time are both really, really cool cards. Plays around Tail's End. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. That makes an Emrakul swing lethal. I think I'm just plussing. No Karn, no Karn. Oh, they have a Karn. But they plus the Karn. Cool. Oh, well, we do play 2 Emrakul. Maybe my opponent will cast Show and Tell. Yeah, I mean, if they O-Stone, they at least lose their Karn, but we probably aren't winning, I guess, if they O-Stone. They have another Karn. That's kind of what it looks like here. O-Stone into tower. Gross. Well, we could draw... I don't know. Stinks. They had Forest. Cast Stirrings. Why no Wildfire on the board? Well, my main thought process is that, again, in these matchups, throwing Emrakul at them is probably enough. Was my main thought process. Yeah, we still have outs to win. It's gonna, if they just stumble and then we draw Polymorph or Creativity, we win. Yeah, they also had to have exactly Tower there in order to O-Stone us. Although they cracked 2 spheres first, so there are plenty of timelines where it works. I'll concede to them tapping 10 mana. Okay, so I think on the play, I like 2 gusts, but on the draw, I don't think I really want the gusts. But we are on the play. I do like that bolts can kill a Karn, that minuses either Karn it kills. Although on the play, I think on the play I want 2 Nahiri, maybe on the draw. Well, I guess on the draw we're cutting the gusts for bolts, and still even like 2 Nahiri probably. So this hand is turn 3 hardcast Force, turn 4 put Emrakul into play. That's probably not quite good enough. It's very close, though. I'm going to keep. This is also pretty good if we just draw a blue card and can just Emrakul with Force of Negation up. I would mulligan this on the draw. And I really do feel like this hand highlights why I like this deck. Polymorph it's just a 1-card combo, you know? Or it's Polymorph plus fetch land. And it's just not that hard to have a fetch land. That's a blue card. They may play around Tail's End. They played around it last time. Am I saying it's better than Splinter Twin? I haven't crunched the numbers, but it is a 1-card combo as opposed to a 2-card combo. They play around Tail's End. Awesome. Opponent's very clearly a fan of the stream. I guess they also just have Natty Tron, huh? So I guess I mean, maybe they top decked the 3rd Tron piece, but if they had the 3rd one, they probably were supposed to bait the Tail's End. Have I considered Cloud Form in the Polymorph deck? Cloud Form. What does Cloud Form do for us? Oh, Cloud Form, the 3-mana enchantment. I was thinking of Cloud Shift. Again, people suggest just... I do like that that it makes a hexproof token. That is nice. But what I like is that you don't have to play any crappy token maker. You don't have to play... I mean, we're playing Timely Reinforcements, but you don't have to play Raise the Alarm. You don't have to play a card like that. That is otherwise incredibly low power for a format like Modern. You get to play... so we lose to Tower Ulamog, but I think we beat anything else. I guess we lose to Forest Veil of Summer Ostone? No, not even that. They have a tower. Do they have Ulamog? They have Karn. Exciting. But yeah, just like I really am not very interested in playing 2-3 mana, even 1 mana make a token, because Dwarven Mine is so free if you build this mana base. That's like why I think this deck is good. Oh yeah, we just have Polymorph to make another Emrakul, but I mean that was like, you know, they're most likely way we lose, I think. Okay, let's go to game 3. This is for another 4-1. Yeah, you are right. We could have just made another Emrakul. I'll keep this. I think Shark Typhoon is fine. I think it's reasonable to play with it, but that's another thing is you could just play Shark Typhoon instead of cards like Cloud Form. You know what I mean? I'm going to cycle. Yeah, I get why Cloud Form is good because it's hexproof, but it's also like a really underpowered 3-mana spell. You know, outside of the combo. Which is something I don't like. We remand this. Map. And crack it. So we can Teferi or hold up delay. I think we hold up delay. And then if we draw another counterspell for next turn, we get to, you know, hasty Emrakul. Okay, they can just replay this card and get coding. Oh no, sorry, this is delay, not remand. C'est la vie, I guess. Oh, they get Grafdigger's Cage? Well, that's beatable. I think we just Teferi plus. Lightform was good in Limited. Yeah, Nahiri needs the artifact to be tapped to exile it. Cycles 2 Wilts. Wilt's only target against us is this. They can get something to stop the Teferi from being able to mine us in the cage, but also Indomitable Creativity does get around the cage, so we could top deck that. Form of the Dragon's an aura? I thought it was just an enchantment. They get Pithing Needle. Gonna crack this in response. Can also haste the Dwarven Mine token. They do name Teferi and they crack their map. Alright, so creativity lets us throw Emrakul at our opponent. Don't we put Tarn in play and bait them into making a mistake? So that is worse if they have if they just have another needle in their hand. But I also think it's very rarely correct to play in a way that you're hoping for your opponent to make a mistake. Usually you want that to be like the last case scenario. You know, that's like that's the very last thing I think you should hope for is your opponent makes a mistake. Otherwise, I think it's usually good to play as if your opponent is going to play well. I guess Teferi still stops Karn. It's nice to have Force of Negation up here. Cage does stop the Nahiri ultimate. They just have Ulamog though. They exile both of my Planeswalkers. Didn't we get another way to spin Transmogrify? Yeah, but I mean, I think Polymorph is... I want to play 7 of these effects. Creativity is the best, and Polymorph is the second best because it pitches to Force, in my opinion. They got another Ulamog. I think we're just dead. Suppose I'll play... We'll play it out. I'll play the Teferi and stop my opponent from getting their Karn back. And we can, and they maybe we can get to resolve creativity.
Mark.
Oh, have a good day. I didn't know you worked today.
Yes.
Isn't baiting an opponent different than hoping they make a mistake? Maybe. I don't know. You could probably argue that that was more of a bait, I suppose, yeah. They exile 2 of our 4 creativities. Yeah, they get rid of our creators. So even if we put Emrakul into play, I think we still lose. Or they get Urza's Factory. It's kind of old school. Alright, so 3-2'd that league. I am liking the deck though.